Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl. That's right, folks. This is our first film of 2025, and we're kicking things off with a banger. Yeah, we certainly are. I just talked about very recently Curse of the Were-Rabbit, which was a fun one to revisit. I love these guys. I love this art form. I love Aardman. I think they have a very distinctive, unique style. They're doing stuff that I enjoy. And this movie is no exception to that. It is so much fun and so unique. This is a Netflix original, which I guess that's the case. You know, the Chicken Run sequel, that was also a Netflix original. That's just where these gotta go now. I don't think there's the huge audience appeal to have these being released in cinemas. As much as I'd love to see it, I don't think you're gonna get a lot of butts in seats for a Chicken Run movie or the Wallace and Gromit movie. At the very least, in the international market, I know like in the UK and in England and everything, these probably do better. Like they are more European-based stuff. And that would probably play better over there. But here in Canada, you're not going to get a packed showing of Vengeance Most Fowl. So yes, it's a streaming original. I don't talk a lot about streaming originals, but it's Wallace and Gromit. There is a long-standing history of these characters, and they're awesome, and they're fun. And this movie is just a great time. A great way to just roll into the new year is to hang out with these cool guys who are talking more about like modern concepts than we've seen before. I think a lot of like the other stuff we've seen from these characters is very timeless. And this one feels very of like the era. AI, you know, just technology taking over, which is such like a fun concept to play with when your character's an inventor. When we're in these times where like technology and advancements in technology are just ever expanding and ever changing and growing, how do you make that something with a character who exists kind of like out of time? Well, we don't have like cell phones as a main feature in the show. We have artificial intelligence as like a main thing that's taking place. So it still is timeless while talking about stuff that is very much of like the 2020s. So that's really cool. And the story just works really well. It is a perfect story to tell of these characters. It does do kind of like the thing I'm always hesitant about with sequels, which is we have to like make a conflict so our lead characters are at odds for a bit and they're not really communicating like their feelings. It works more in like this setting because of like what the adversary is. The premise of this movie, just like very loosely to throw it out there, is Wallace invents this garden gnome that is like its own robotic entity that does, you know, yard work. He is missing the point of why Gromit likes to do yard work, which is like his zen and his calm. So he creates this thing to help Gromit do the lawn work, and the entire community is like, we want one of those. So it builds like itself an own army of these gnomes to just like, we'll do it. But then the bad guy of the piece, Feathers McGraw, he takes over and switches them. Literally, it's like the scene in the Trios of Horror episode where like the Krusty doll goes from like good to evil. Feathers McGraw does that to the gnomes, so they start to terrorize the community and like steal stuff. And people think Wallace is a criminal, so they try to arrest him. A huge subplot of this film is like the chief of police and like the new rookie recruit teaming up to like solve the case of like who is stealing this stuff. Is it Wallace? What's going on? It's a really good balance of all three things. I love how scary the gnomes are. Like they really just like do references to Alfred Hitchcock's Birds with the gnomes, which I'm like, that's awesome. I also like how much mileage they get out of like the word gnome. They really play with like he's called like the I gnome, the smart gnome, and that goes into other directions like the gnome with no name or something. Truly funny. Truly great use of just like using gnome. You have that name, make the jokes around the name gnome. It works really well. Very clever. Everything with Feathers McGraw is incredible. This is a character that has been set up for a while now. I think he had like a small cameo in the Chicken Run sequel. I can't remember that one too much. And then it's just like he's been plotting his revenge since the last time we saw him facing off against these guys. He's been locked in a zoo, and as soon as he realizes he can escape, he's got a plan in place to get the blue diamond back. He's going after the diamond again, and that's really fun. And it just goes off the rails from there. Very high stakes. Gromit's one of my favorite characters. When we talked about Curse of the Were-Rabbit, I talked about how much I love this dog. This dog is funny. He Buster Keatons his way through so many of these movies. This one is no exception. He just catches onto the plot right away. The only person who sees everything going on. Not only is there like the sort of quieter narrative of like, I'm losing my best friend to technology, he's just so aware of like, somebody's doing something here. I want to figure out what it is. And he figures out it's Feathers McGraw. Like, the evil mastermind is back doing this stuff. So it's just great storytelling in 80 minutes leading up to an incredible finale on like a train. And I'm like, this is crazy. There are literal shots in like the finale of the train fight where it doesn't even look like it's clay. It looks like real sets, and it's unbelievable. I'm like, how does that look so good? Truly amazing. And because it's been a couple decades of us using this technology and these characters, the way we move the camera and the way we like sculpt and move the characters, it's advanced a lot. So it's more crisp, it's more clean. Using these nicer digital cameras really just shows you how special the handmade feel of everything looks. It looks so perfect in a way that the other ones haven't. And I don't mean that as like a criticism either. I think so much love went into this because we know we have the ability to like see the faults now. We have to like just put a little more effort and detail into things to make it cleaner and crisper. And it really pays off because you get something that feels seamless. Every character, every movement. There's an entire sequence where like Wallace is wearing a different like type of clothing. It's like made of a wool. So you're using a different fabric over top of like the already established clay. And it feels real and it looks so good. Incredible. And then just like the background's looking more realistic. It's unbelievable. And it's funny, and it's cool, and Feathers McGraw is back. People genuinely dislike this character, because he's a criminal mastermind who's evil and scary, and I'm like, this is like, the best way you bring back this guy is this way, where it's like, he's been plotting his revenge, he sees an opportunity, takes advantage of a situation, stays in character, works so well. I love it so much. And I don't know when we're going to see these characters again, and I don't know what Aardman's doing next, but every time they put something out, I think this is a little bit better than the Chicken Run movie, but every time they put something out, I'm like, yeah, this is what I love. I love something that has dedication behind it, has interest behind it, that people are willing to put the time and effort into making special, and that's what Vengeance Most Foul feels like. People so willing to make this special and unique. Oh, it's cool. It's really cool. Fun characters, a fun time. Would have loved to see this on the big screen, but I know where we are. Like, I know that wasn't going to happen, so I can live with it. But just a beautiful, unique piece. Can't wait for more. I hope we get more. I like this new voice actor, too, that they have for Wallace. I don't know if he's done anything else. I'm sure he must have, right? That's got to be, like, a grueling process to, like, find someone to replace the original voice, but does a good job. And all the new characters that they introduced, too, they're really fun. Again, the Chief's incredible, and I like the new rookie cop. She's a really fun addition and does something different, so that's really cool. It's also about like boats. It's just really fun. Great action. Like, the action is just amped up incredibly well. So much fun. This is genius comedy. It's genius animation, genius storytelling. We need more stuff like this. I'm glad it exists. Even if it is a Netflix original, I am glad it exists and I can watch it. Give me some physical release of this, please. I'm sure there would be, right? There must be at some point, because it's Aardman, like it's art. I don't know. Hopefully. I'm hoping. So, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.